Tonight's conversation, I want to call this conversation the difference between flexing power and punching down. You heard what I said, family. What's the difference between flexing power and punching down? When I think about the concept of Black Americans flexing power, I think about the delineation movement, family, and what we've been able to accomplish in this very, very small amount of time. With over the last few years, Black Americans were able to consolidate our identity and not view it as something that is better than anyone else, but something that is separate and in need of protection. So we had to consolidate power, family. What does power look like to the Black American in 2026? Power looks like making sure that our ethnic group is protected, making sure our lineage is defined, and making sure that other people can't just cosplay us anymore. Other people can't just come in and substitute and just come in and just take over everything. When I look at history, family, Black Americans, believe it or not, family, there's always been a segment in time where we had to consolidate power. I think back in slavery, when many of our people was being buck broken, many of our people was being stripped of their identity, stripped of their language, stripped of their privileges as a human being. What did we do, family? We started to conversate with each other. We started to protect our children. We started to protect our women. And we started to let our families understand that this condition wasn't something that was permanent. This condition was something that we could break out of, but we had to consolidate power. So different little things that we did to consolidate power was acts of resistance. Either it was the way that we walked, the way that we talked, the way that we carried ourselves. You understand? The way that we resisted against white supremacy, in creating different languages and creating the Tut language and creating different variations of biblical scripture, where we would take that biblical scripture and we would flip it to our benefit and create people like the Nat Turners. You understand? This was ways that we consolidated our power during slavery. And when we got out of slavery, family, we consolidated our power with fighting with the Union Army. Many of us didn't have many options. They promised our ancestors freedom, opportunity, so we took it on the table and we fought with the Union soldiers. And we protected our families, who many of them were not safe under slavery and tyranny. But we fought against the Confederate and we joined the Union soldiers and we got ourselves out of slavery, family. That was another act of consolidating power. And then I think about consolidating our power once we got out of slavery and started to go into that Reconstruction period. Many Black people were getting into political office. We were trying to figure out ways that we can vote. We were building our family structures back. We were building income, becoming millionaires, doing all kinds of things during slavery, family, consolidating our power. And what do we do after Reconstruction? We begin to go out into the United States and do other things, building infrastructure, buying land. A lot of people don't understand how much land is on the table for the Black American Foundation of Black American. You understand, family, that over 20 million acres of foundational Black American land is still unclaimed. And people don't even talk about it. Almost like they try to act like it never existed, how much land our forebears own and legal deeds and rights. So our act of consolidating power was always in an effort to build our family structures and build our economic progress. So when the immigrant says that we are powerless, that goes to show you that they don't really know much about us historically, and they damn sure don't know anything about us today. I was watching the daily wrap-up crew. Shout out to those brothers. I think two of those brothers are FBA and one of them is from a foreign background. The dude who's from a foreign background is pretty cool. right? But I was watching the Daily Wrap Up crew, and our sister Brooke was on the Daily Wrap Up crew, and she and the Freeman Project did a phenomenal job in letting people understand what black foundational Black American identity is and where we stand in today's climate with delineation. But they did something real interesting in this episode. Many of you probably saw it with the new episode of Daily Wrap Up crew with Sister Brooke and the Freeman Project. They played a clip, family. They played a clip. And in this clip of the Daily Wrap Up crew with our sister Brooke and the Freeman Project, they played a clip of the last few years of a lot of foreigners talking crazy about Black Americans. And I understand why they did it. They did it because in many of this, in today's climate, because Black Americans are consolidating our power and flexing our power, people who don't understand it may think that we're punching down on these people, may think that we are coming, trying to separate ourselves for no reason. Many of these tethers, many of these immigrants would say that we think we're better than them. It's not about that. It's about many of these immigrants have been for a long period in time, for the last few years, have been saying Black Americans have no power, family. They've been saying that we are powerless in our own country. So in consolidating our power, we've had to show them that actually we are very powerful. We are the sleeping giants of the modern time. Just because we don't punch down on people doesn't mean that you take our kindness for weakness, family. And it seems like, to keep it funky with you, family, it seems like the modern day immigrant, the modern day tether, has been not only misinterpreting Black Americans consolidating our power, but they've underestimated us, family. They've underestimated us. And they viewed us as a weak people because we don't punch down on people, family. So when I was watching the Daily Wrap Up crew and how they were playing this clip of all of these immigrants talking crazy about Black Americans, it hit me different than a lot of people, because it made me realize what made me start doing this, family. Why I started to do this. I started to do this because of that. Because too many foreigners were getting online and saying disparaging things about foundational Black American people and saying it out their chest with too much goddamn confidence. You understand? And instead of going online and going into the comments section, and becoming a comment warrior, I said I need to do something about it. And I created the Cotton Club Radio YouTube channel because of this. So understand, family, the difference between Black Americans consolidating and flexing our power versus punching down. Our power is in efforts to show tethers and immigrants that we are not weaklings in our country, and that actually you are a guest in our country. You are a guest. And you should be humble in our country. And if we have to show you the power we have, we will. You understand what I'm saying, family? I think that's beautiful. I think that that's powerful within itself, with us consolidating our power and showing these people we ain't really nothing to play with. We ain't nothing to play with. We're not weak people. We're not people who are going to be disrespected. You understand? And we're not people who you're just going to say anything to or do anything to, family. You understand? What is power? I like to go by the understanding of the Black Panthers when Huey P. Newton said, power is the ability to define phenomena and make it act in a desired manner. So when Black Americans are consolidating our power, we're looking at what we can control and we're making it act the way we want it to. So right now we said, you know what? All of that derogatory shit that a lot of these foreigners been doing, calling us Yankees and Nakatas, we're going to take that shit and we're going to flip that. We ain't Yankees and Nakatas. We're foundational Black Americans. Why? Because we said so. Because we said so. You understand? And no, we're not punching down on nobody, because we're flexing our power with this delineation, because the tethers and the foreigners said that we were powerless in our own country. They must have not been around during that Reconstruction, when we had more black people in political office than on the planet. We were consolidating power, building the Black Wall Streets, the Tulsa, Oklahomas, the Wilmington, North Carolinas, etc., the Roadwoods, etc. We were building that, family, consolidating power. These tethers weren't around when we were consolidating power during the Civil Rights Movement, where we were telling, not we weren't asking for shit, we were telling our government what we were going to get. You understand? We weren't talking about sitting next to YT and eating with them. We were talking about economic opportunities, because we understood that a lot of those YT schools were getting economic funding, and we weren't getting those type of fundings. So we wanted economic opportunity. We didn't want to sit at no damn counter with these people. We never cared about that. They flipped that shit and told you, foreigners, that we wanted to be in proximity to YT people. We didn't give a damn about no proximity to them. We were flourishing on our own. See, these people don't understand the power we consolidated during those Black Power movements, when many of them people weren't even here. Many of them were coming in the 80s and 90s. They weren't here during the Black Power movements, when we were consolidating power and telling these YT people that they can kick rocks, that we are going to build our communities despite the foot that they had on our backs. We are not powerless people. So yeah, so I say all that to say, family, when I saw the clip from that daily wrap-up crew, shout out to them, when they were showing that clip of them tethers talking crazy about Black American people, it woke me the hell up and made me realize why I started doing this shit. I said, oh yeah, look at that. Going down the list. Oh, Black Americans have no culture. Oh, Black Americans are powerless. Oh, dirty Black Americans. Oh, you remember the clip, in the clip you had one tether dressed like a Black American, and unfortunately some young Black American girl was talking to him, and he said, Black Americans have no culture. Ill, nasty. Meanwhile, he's dressed like a Black American. This is what we're talking about here. The idiocy. So no, we're not punching down on you people with delineation. We're flexing our power, because you said we were powerless. You said we didn't have any power. Well, what do you think now, Haitians? Yeah, many of you are still in my comments. What do you think now? How does it feel when you got to go back home? TPS is over. Black Americans ain't out there fighting for your ass. You got to go. How do you feel now, Africans? Well, we ain't going over there and giving you none of that tourism money. You got the Pan-Africans acting fucking nuts. They acting crazy, because Black Americans ain't really rocking with them now. Now they acting all nuts, and they crying, and everybody's upset with Black Americans now. We flexing our power, family. We showing people that we ain't really nothing to play with. When the Pan-Africans told us, you ain't Black American, you ain't foundational, you African, we told them, take that and shove it somewhere else. We're foundational Black Americans. We are not Africans. We are foundational Black Americans. Then what happened, family? The census records are starting to change. Yeah, they haven't quite changed that African, but what they did was they definitely started carving out separate identities for all these other African people. Delineation is working. It's working. It makes you wonder, family. When we started carving out a space for ourselves, why did everybody feel like that was their opportunity to start acting like all of a sudden they can't determine who's different from us or them? But for years, they knew who the hell we were, and we knew who they were. But now, ever since delineation, everybody acting like they don't know who nobody is now. Everybody's talking about I don't know, what's the difference? We're all the same. That sounds real interesting. Because when Black Americans were saying we were all the same, you were saying we ain't Black. We were just 20 years ahead of most of you people. And now we're flexing power, letting you know whatever we touch and whatever we want, we can have. We told you years ago that we were going to put reparations on the main screen. Is on the main screen. We told you years ago that we were foundational Black Americans and we weren't Africans. Now the government is saying, you know what? They're foundational. Foundational Black American is a household name now. We told you we weren't fighting for you no more, and these YT people would get rid of you. Look what's happening. We're not fighting for you. They're getting rid of you. We are flexing power in ways, family, that we haven't flexed power since the Civil Rights Movement, since the Black Power movements. And I love every bit of it, family. And we ain't punching down because that's not in our spirit. We don't need to punch down. We don't want to punch down on nobody. We don't need nobody feeling like we trying to punch down on them. You understand? There's no reason to punch down on nobody. You know, because when you punch down, you mock, you belittle, you bully. We're not bullying people with delineation. We're not mocking them with delineation. We're giving them what they wanted. We're giving them what they wanted. They said we were a weak, feeble, powerless group. They said we were an undefined, powerless group. We told them, actually, we are defined, and we ain't weak and feeble. We're very powerful, and now we're showing their asses, and everybody's running for cover. Everybody's acting like we tripping. Everybody's throwing rocks and hiding their hands now. Everybody's saying, why are these Black Americans tripping? Why are we tripping? Why are we, bothering everybody? Why are we causing so much ruckus and fuss? Interestingly, that's the same shit they were saying when we were trying to vote and mobilize our people. Them YTs were saying the same thing. Why are you making such a big deal? When we were saying we needed more Black representation, the YTs were saying, well, why are you making such a big deal? You got plenty, you got sports. We're paying you. We said, no, that's not enough. We need more. Because we got standards. We got first world standards. I heard a tether say that Black Americans are walking around in foreign nations with entitlement. That's not entitlement to want running water. That's not entitlement to expect people to pave streets instead of walking barefoot in the fucking mud. It's not entitlement to want people to build sewer systems instead of crapping on the street. That's not entitlement to want people to have electricity instead of going without. Black Americans are giving you the blueprint as to getting what you need. We've showed you how to get what you want. You understand? We've given you the movements. We've given you the blueprints. We've showed you how to flex power. Many of you don't watch. Many of you haven't learned. Many of you haven't listened. Kwame Nkrumah did. He came here, got educated by some Negroes, and went back and started a revolution, and Ghana became an independent nation. You better study your history and know who you're dealing with. You understand? We are not weak people by any sort of anyone's imagination. When we flex power hard. We show people how to get shit done. When the Asians started toting their chests out and started acting crazy, getting online talking about, we don't need you to shop at our restaurants or whatever, we said, all right, cool, shut them down. When the Africans were talking about, where the Africans were getting a little too goddamn, acting like they was the shit with the braiding shops, talking a little mess, we shut them down. We seen braiding shops go out of business. We seen Asians go out of business. The foundational Black American ain't no damn joke. And when we flex power, we show you just how powerful we are. But we are not people who punch down on the weak and the frivolous. We're not. That's why we don't punch down on you people, and that's why we haven't. For a long time, family, we didn't want to do this. We didn't want to say nothing. When a lot of foreigners would come here and put up their nose at us and come on our land and act like we ain't shit, and come on our land and act like we don't belong to be here and they were better, we just looked at them as some real ignorant Negroes. That's how we looked at them, family. We just looked at them like, man, these are some real self-headed Negroes. But that was it. We didn't really think much of it. We thought that they were just people who just didn't get it. We ignored a lot of shit for a long time, family. We ignored these people for a long time because we don't believe in punching down. We don't believe in going to where people are weaker and putting our foot on their back. We don't believe in that. Our folks taught us better than that. They taught us not to do that. You understand? So when we seen these people in their prototype 1, when they came off the boat and they were disheveled and their hair was messy and their clothes was all disheveled and they was smelling and they were wearing flip-flops and their feet was all fucked up and all of that. We let them have it. We lit them up. We roasted them because we roasted each other. But we also told them, your family, I know where to take you to go get your hairline straightened. Man, you need some you wearing those skippies and shit. You need to go put some uptowns on, bro. Get you some Air Force laced up. Some white on whites. You dig? Yo, bro, man, you ain't really smelling right, man. Yo, check this out, man. This is the cologne that I wear. Maybe you want to get this. Maybe you want to get the waves. Maybe you want to get the braids. For the ladies, FBA women taught you how to lay down your ends. You understand? Get your ends right. Shit was looking all, looking toasted. FBA women taught you how to lay down your baby hairs. Get you all fleek. Now you look on TV. Now you look on YouTube. You see a whole bunch of content creators, foreign content creators looking like FBA women. They got their baby hairs laid down and, their braids is all fleek and, they talking in a little a foundational Black American vernacular, cosplaying. We raised you out of that prototype 1. Many of you had to graduate to prototype 2, which is being more Americanized. Now many of you got your shape ups, you got your lineups, your beard is looking nice. You dig? You're fresh, you're clean, you wearing your Jordans, you wearing your Pradas, you're wearing your lace fronts, you're doing what you're supposed to do. And you're doing it all right. Some of you got it. I get it. You graduated. You're no longer prototype 1, you're prototype 2. I give it to you. But don't you ever forget. Don't you forget it. Don't you? Because we will remind you. We will remind you how you came here. And show you where you came from. And show you where you are. We are not people who diss people. We show people, we teach people the right way. And many of you have learned the right way and you turn around and you attack the very people who taught you the game. So now it's time to flex that power that you ain't know nothing about. That power that you said we didn't have. Now it's time to flex it, family. And I know many of you foreigners, y'all regretting that shit. Y'all regretting saying Black Americans ain't had no power. I could tell. I can hear it in your voice. Your voice ain't as thick as it used to be. Y'all ain't talking out your neck like you used to. I'm hearing a lot of, why are FBA so angry? Why can't we all just get along again? Not understanding that era is past. We ain't trying to get along no more. Now we're consolidating power. We're looking out for ourselves. We're trying to move towards something special. We're trying to get back those 20 million acres in land that they stole from us and robbed from our ancestors. We're trying to repair ourselves. You just get to watch. And all we ask is stay out our way. That's it. Just stay out our way. Don't come to our reparation panels talking about all black people need reparations. All we ask is to just move out the way. We don't want a problem with nobody. We just want you to go your way and we go ours. Is that too much to ask for? So, in understanding, family, you understand? Understanding that we're seeing more clear than we've ever seen before. Our eyes is on the prize more than ever. We know what we need. We know what we want. We know who's the actors and the perpetrators, and we know who we need to get the hell out the way so we can get what we want. We've identified who have been playing both sides of the field. We've identified those who have been in our mentions and sowing seeds of deceit. We've identified those who have been putting monkey wrenches in our situations. And we've now given them a descriptive term. So we can identify them like we've identified other turncoats in our community. And to be honest with you, family, it was the greatest thing we've ever done. Delineation was the greatest thing we've ever done. I am so happy of all my FBA family. I am so proud of you. I know that there are people who will tell you what is the end goal. You tell them to consolidate power. That's the end goal. There are people who will tell you, well, what's the point of FBA? You tell them, well, what's the point of a Jamaican? What's the point of a Haitian? What's the point of a Dominican? What's the point of a Puerto Rican? What's the point of an El Salvadorian? Fool. We are trying to do what we have to do. And if you are in this country, we're not asking you to leave. We're not ICE. We're just telling you to get the hell out the way. We're just telling you, if you are of an immigrant background and you're not for foundational Black American reparations, then go kick rocks. You can step. You can get the hell up on. That's what we're saying, family. This is about making power moves. This ain't about arguing with people. This ain't about going back and forth. This ain't about some internet shit. We consolidating real power in real time. Yeah, people are making real moves. And I heard, interestingly, a Pan-African dude came on my comment on my TikTok, and he said he didn't like what I was telling the Haitians when I was telling the Haitians that they're Haitian American and, we're Black American and they shouldn't disrespect our holidays by bringing their flags. It wasn't just for Haitians. It was for the whole damn diaspora. I don't want Jamaicans bringing their goddamn flags to my holiday, to my celebrations. I don't want no foreigner selling their merchandise at a Black American event or none of that shit, bro. I don't want none of that. And you had a tether, a tether who I believe was cosplaying. He came into my mentions and said, "Oh, there's a lot of people getting paid to sow division in the Black amongst the Black diaspora." Let me clear that up right now. I don't get paid for this shit. I don't make no money off of this. You understand? I don't make money off of this. I do this because I'm tired of people in the diaspora disrespecting Black American people, telling us we ain't got no culture, telling us we're powerless, and telling us that they're better than us. I'm tired of seeing the hundreds of videos of foreigners saying that their parents were telling them, don't marry a black American, don't be friends with a black American, a dirty black American, whatever the stuff that they said. That's why I do this. I do this because you need to be exposed, not because I get paid to do it. To the Pan-African goofies. A lot of you people are ridiculous. The hell is wrong with you? You understand? I'm a successful person in real life. I don't make money from occasionally getting on TikTok and talking to my people about shit that we need to do. I don't even know why half of y'all even, if you a tether, I don't even know why you watching this shit. Because I ain't talking to you. I'm talking to my people. Because our people need to be organized. Our people are in the fight of our lives for cultural and heritage and lineage survival. This ain't got nothing to do with you. You're just lucky you can watch. I think sometimes foreigners who are here, maybe first and second generation, they've grown up around black American people, they got too many damn opinions. And they don't understand that it's okay for you to be here. We're not telling you to leave. But if you're going to be in the room, that means you be quiet when we talking amongst our own. Have some damn decorum. Have some respect. When black Americans go around foreigners that are majority foreigner space, we not going around talking shit. We allow foreigners a space to do their thing. We don't go in their spaces trying to take their stuff over. Why everything we do, they got to come and try to take it over? That's why I called out the diaspora with that Juneteenth shit. Because I felt like they were trying to take over Juneteenth. And yeah, the Haitians got mad because I called them out. But I wasn't just talking to Haitians. I was talking to all of them. I don't want you at none of our events selling your medallions, your African medallions, and selling your goddamn curry chicken and selling your oxtails at a Juneteenth event. Take that shit home. I don't want that. We don't want that. We don't want you bringing your flags to our events. Leave that at home. Why do I have to tell you that? Or is it that island mentality? That us against them mentality that you have, that you brought over here from being on those little islands for so long? You come over here off of those islands and you start having this us against them mentality. And you feel like you need to bring your flag everywhere to remind everybody that it's us against them. Well, I'm telling you to leave your goddamn flags at home and you're no longer on that island. So you don't have to have a us against them mentality. You no longer have to have an island mentality anymore. You're not on the islands. You're on mainland now. Now you're on our land. And when you're on our land, you be humble. And stop trying to bring your us against them mentality. It shouldn't be that way. We never wanted it to be us against you. We tried to tell you we were all black. Fool. That's what we told you. That's why we told you. We wanted you to understand that we were supposed to be in this together. But you kept telling us you weren't black, you were Jamaican. You weren't black, you were Dominican, etc. So we said, okay, good for you. You take your Dominican self over there, and you take your Jamaican self over there, and you eat your oxtails, you eat your beans and rice, and your beanie. And we're going to do our thing over here. So in Consolidating Power, family, understand that we are at a threshold as foundational black Americans that whatever we touch, we can change. These foreigners are realizing that now. They didn't know that shit before because we weren't consolidating power against them. We were doing it against the system, and the system knew we were a threat. That's why the system did everything they could to quarrel us, shadow ban us, do little social media COINTELPRO us. If we were some weak, feeble people, they wouldn't be doing that. So I guess the tethers got it all messed up. Now that we flexing our power, they running for cover. They don't know what to do. They even trying the guilt trip, trying to make it seem like we trying to bully them or something like that. When in all reality, we are just showing them that what they said, we were powerless. We're just showing them that we're actually powerful. You understand, family? Shout out to the whole family. Shout out to the FBA family for doing the best I've seen in a long time, family. We are more proud than we've been in a long time, family. And I just love to see all the love we're giving each other. I love to see FBAs buying from FBAs. I love to see FBAs looking for other FBAs to purchase things from. You understand? And I love to see Black American people representing our indigenous roots and letting people know that we're not one thing. We had an ethnogenesis, and if it's okay to show love to our totality, then we're going to show love to our indigenous roots. And we're going to let tethers do tether babble while we get our inheritance, get our land rights, get our over 20 million acres of land that they stole from our people, and focus on building.
King. Love. Let your angel sing. I ain't twisted, this ain't the Henny talking for me. This is literally Malcolm Little talking through me. I ain't possessed, this is just when spirit meets the flesh, and a revolutionary is born, nothing less. It's hard for me to cope with stress, especially when I see the world much different from the rest. I can't sleep, nightmares, waking up, cold sweat, wondering if I ever made it, will they do me like the rest? For my black souls who really too upset to rest, so they wander through my dreams, please tell me what this means.
Glove Radio.